Hospitality Career Development. My name is Dr. Anthony Gatling, and I'm going to take you through the syllabus in some detail prior to class beginning on Monday. Now, Monday I am going to be away. I will be on my way back from the restaurant show in Chicago. Dr. Bobby Barnes, however, will be in attendance at class, and she will cover with you some items that are related to the syllabus, and I'll go over those shortly. But I wanted to, first of all, introduce myself and give you the opportunity before class on Monday to hear from me, not just about the fact that I'm not going to be there Monday, but also more importantly, about the details relative to the syllabus. So I'm going to go through it here. And the good thing about this is that you will have this recording for future reference. So again, my name is Dr. Anthony Gatling. You can reach me. My office phone is extension 5870. In terms of email, I would prefer that all email correspondence go through Blackboard Learn. My office hours will be Monday through Friday, about an hour and a half before class to 30 minutes before class. So 9:30 to 10:30. I would prefer that you make an appointment. If you just drop by and I don't have anyone already scheduled, I'd be more than happy to visit with you, but appointments are preferred. My office is on the 5th floor of Beam Hall, and of course, you know that our class meets Monday through Friday for 3 weeks at 11 a.m. to 1:40 p.m. in BEH 106. In terms of the prerequisites, I think everybody knows what they are. Just relative to the introduction, the purpose of the course, as it states here, is to prepare students for a fulfilling and balanced career as hospitality professionals. And I do take a strategic approach. Most of my recent background has been at the executive level, so I have lots of strategic stories to tell, as well as to share with you strategic perspectives as we go through this course. I'm not going to read through line for line the course outcomes. You can read through those, but I will tell you that this is not, going to be what I would characterize as a walk in the park or an easy course. There's some significant learning outcomes that as a university and as a college, we hope to deliver, we look to deliver to the student, and I've got some specific expectations in terms of learning outcomes as well. And they are all in congruence with these course outcomes that are described here. The required textbooks, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, backpacks to briefcases. I'm going to ensure that there is a PDF copy of that uploaded into the course documents. I haven't done it yet, but I'll do it as soon as I finish this video. But that's going to be a critical part, and that's a free publication that you could pick up at Career Services if you want to. But you're more than happy to download the PDF copy that I will post in course documents. We're also going to use Business Communication Essentials and Primal Leadership, Learning to Lead with Emotional Intelligence. So those are the required textbooks. I know that some students in my spring semester decided not to buy some of these books, and I think they paid a pretty dear price for not having the information that they needed to fulfill the requirements of the course. So I would not recommend that you forego purchasing any of these books. We are going to use iClickers. By now I think all of you, if not most of you, have understand the context of using iClickers, but there are some key points that I want to cover here. Number one, there's going to be about 60 points. Last semester we ended up using 58 points with iClickers. These points are not extra credit, and there won't really be any extra credit for this course. I don't believe in extra credit. So that won't be a part of this course. In order to get credit for clicker points, you must be in class. As it says here, you want to make sure that you get a green light every time you are polling for a question. I will do everything that I can to help you with any technical difficulties that you might have. But one thing I can't do, and that is provide you with batteries or give you credit if your batteries die. I can't do that. If your clicker's not working properly, I can't give you credit for the points there. So you're going to have to make sure that you've got a clicker and that it works properly. Now, make sure you read this section, iClicker required. There's some really important key points here. One of which is, and I'm going to highlight this because this is something, well, I think I'm going to highlight it. Maybe I'm not. Okay. Yes. Okay. This is something that happened in the spring semester. I had a student who gave his clicker to another student to use and to record clicker points for him when he wasn't in class. And there's some serious consequences when something like that occurs. It's called academic misconduct. And the outcome of such behavior could certainly be failing the entire course. It also could include a transcript notation indicating academic dishonesty. And I just learned this last semester. It could also result in suspension from the university and any university within the Nevada state system. So cheating is something that won't be tolerated. It should go without saying, but obviously, there are individuals who believe they can cheat their way through school and maybe think they can cheat their way through life. But the fact of the matter is that there's consequences for cheating. Now, spring semester, there were a number of cheating cases that came up where students, in some cases, were expelled from the university system. So, just don't do it, okay? It is not worth it. I certainly will hold anyone accountable that I find cheating, whether it's clickers or some other form of academic misconduct. So, let's see. You want to register your clicker at iClicker.com. Once you register your clicker at iClicker.com, I'll be able to pick up your clicker through the receiver that I have in class. If you don't register your clicker, this is important, you will not receive clicker points. So you have to make sure that you register your clicker, and you need to do that before class, before the first day of class. So please do so if you haven't already done it. So that's it on clickers. Let's just go through the schedule of class activities. 3 weeks is a very short time to cover the amount of information that we're going to cover in this class. And certainly it's going to require a tremendous amount of work on your part, to ensure that you hit these benchmarks. I think more significant than anything else is going to be the reading. The actual assignments as they are, may not cause you as much trouble as some of the exams will if you don't know the material. The exams are not easy in this class, and if you haven't read the material or haven't attended the lectures, it's highly unlikely that you're going to pass the exams. So let's start with week 1, day 1, May 20th. I'm doing the syllabus and objectives overview now. Obviously, as I stated earlier, I won't be in class on Monday, but Bobby Barnes will be there. She will be covering work experience and internships. So she'll be there at 11 a.m. at the beginning of class, and she'll take attendance, as she always does for me in my classes. So, that's day one. Important note here, as it relates to the mock interview. Okay, you want to schedule the mock interview immediately, but you don't want to schedule the mock interview before we've completed the interview and skills sessions on May 22nd. Okay, very important to get that mock interview scheduled after May 22nd. You want to make sure that you read Backpacks to Briefcases, more specifically the sections on resume writing and cover letters. That's going to be important, and I'd probably do that sooner than later. So, day one, you want to get these two things done. Day two, I will be in class and we will go immediately into resume writing. Now, I'll take some time on the front end of class to answer any questions that I haven't answered relative to the syllabus. And I'll spend some time telling you about myself. But we're going to hit the ground running pretty hard starting, with resume writing. So, we're going to have a full day of resume writing, and we're going to discuss the details and the UNLV Career Services expectations regarding resume writing. One of the things you want to take note of is that career registrations are due. And I'll go through what these are, but all three of these, Career Link, Career Shift, and the Hotel Listserv assignments are due on 5/22. And again, I'll cover these in more detail later on as we go through the syllabus. On May 22nd, we're going to cover interviewing skills, part 1 and part 2. A lot of information in that particular day of lectures. It will set you up for your mock interview that you're going to have later on, in the term. So you really don't want to miss. Actually, you can't afford to miss any of these classes, but it is going to be a very critical component of the first part of the course. And wouldn't you know it, May 23rd, our first exam, which will cover resume writing, cover letter, resume writing and cover letter. So there's a lot that we're going to cover in this resume writing section. We're also going to cover in resume writing cover letters. So you'll get all the information that you need relative to exam 1. But much of that information, too, is listed in Backpacks to Briefcases. So that's the first 3 days. Again, as I stated, on May 23rd, we'll have our first exam. The exams they just aren't easy. So by then, you will have needed to read, at least the first chapter of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I do cover Covey Inside Out. That is a chapter that precedes Habit 1. It's going to be difficult to really grasp all of this information if you haven't read the chapters before class, and it's a lot to read. So I would encourage you, to start with Covey now. That's going to be a pretty heavy lift. It's not an easy read, because there's a lot of stories in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But you want to make sure that you get and that you understand, what the essence and the nature of these habits are. So, moving on, you're going to have, we're going to have 3 chapters of Covey on May 24th. That is a tremendous amount of information. But we will definitely get through it. There is going to be no class on May 27th. As we all know, that's Memorial Day. But as a little bit of a heads up, your final resume is going to be due on or by midnight on Memorial Day, May 27th. So final resume will be due on 5/27. Now, on May 28th, we're going to cover 3 more chapters of Covey. Again, a lot of information. And another heads up here, your cover letter is going to be due on 5/29. And then, wouldn't you know it, we've got another exam on May 29th. So that is going to be a significant exam because there's a tremendous amount of information that we've got to cover out of Covey. We're going to cover all 7 habits. So that's like 8 chapters. I'll do my best to prepare you, but you'll have to know the information to pass these exams. Let's see. So on May 29th, we're going to do the exam and we'll cover Primal Leadership Chapter 1. And I may do Chapter 2 as well, just to try to give us a little bit of cushion here as we move through the mid part of the term. But certainly, you want to have at least read the first chapter of Primal Leadership. Primal Leadership is an easy read. It is a much easier read than Covey. A lot of the concepts are pretty straightforward. It gets a little technical, but not too technical when in some parts of this. May 30th, we're going to cover 2 chapters of Primal Leadership. On May 31st, you're going to have your mock interview. Your mock interview needs to be completed by 5/31. So schedule it. I'm going to go through this again. Schedule it immediately. Don't schedule it before we do the interview skills lectures. So schedule your mock interview between May 23rd and May 31st. Now, I did talk to the Director of Career Services. They are aware that that you have this very small window, so you really shouldn't have a problem getting the mock interview scheduled within that time frame. Now, on May 31st, we're going to have an in-class quiz, and this should be fun. It's been fun the last couple of semesters. I actually give you an opportunity to take the quiz with your peers, and you're able to kind of talk about the answers and learn from one another in this process. So the in-class quiz will cover chapters 1, 2, and 3 on May 31st. We'll immediately go into chapters 4 and chapter 6. We don't cover chapter 5, but I do touch on it in terms of the 2 styles of leadership that are dissonant styles. So more to come on that, but we will have another in-class quiz on June 3rd. So as you can see, we're moving pretty quickly here. The in-class quiz on June 3rd will cover chapters 4 and chapters 5. Now, on June 3rd, we'll also move into the business writing segment of the course. And, this can be one of the more difficult segments of the course because it does require, some writing skills. It does require you to truly read and understand, 6 chapters, chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. But as you can see here, we're going to cover each one of those chapters. And trust me, the final exam will not be cumulative, but it will cover all 6 of these chapters. And ask anyone from spring semester if you know anyone who took this course in spring semester. It is a very difficult exam if you're not prepared and if you haven't read these chapters. You really have to know the information to do well on the exams. The first business writing assignment is going to be due on June 5th, okay, and you'll upload that to Turnitin. The second business writing assignment will be due the day before the final, which will be on June 7th. Now, I've got June 6th sort of reserved for final exam review. There's really not a final exam review. I'm just sort of holding that day in case we get behind up here anywhere. We can always catch up. You know, I haven't taught this course in a 3-week format before, so I wanted to leave us a little bit of wiggle room in the event that we have some challenges in the preceding days and weeks. So that's, you know, the activities. Let's talk more specifically about some of these activities. The mock interview, and I'm not going to read all this. I'm going to hit some key points here, but you know, this clearly tells you where you're going to have the mock interview. It tells you, you know, the phone number to call to schedule the mock interview. You do want to take your resume with you. You do want to take a flash drive in order to get a recorded copy of your interview. They will videotape you. You will take that videotaped interview, and you're going to need to have that videotaped interview in order to write one of your business writing assignments. So please make sure that you take the flash drive with you. There is a rubric for the mock interview in terms of how they're going to score it on their end at Career Services. And I also posted, you know, the actual business writing assignment. One of the business writing assignments is posted in under course documents as well. So that's the mock interview. The resume is pretty simple. We're going to cover everything that you need to know about the resume in class. You will need to upload the resume and to Turnitin. Same thing for the cover letter. You'll need to upload the cover letter into Turnitin as well. So here are some details about these two assignments, the resume and the cover letter. We will cover these two in great detail in class. As it relates to the Career Link, Career Shift, and Hotel listserv assignments, I'm not going to go through all these, but it's real basic. You need to, you know, go into these different portals and find jobs that you want to pursue or that you would be interested in pursuing upon graduation. And then you are going to copy and paste those either into a Word document, probably into a Word document, and upload this into Turnitin. So that's you know, these three assignments: Career Link, Career Shift, and Hotel College listserv. So those are the instructions for those assignments. The business writing, I'm not. You know, I've already covered one of the assignments, which is probably going to be assignment 2. But assignment 1, I'll get to that. You know, probably a few weeks before it's due, or a few weeks before it's due, a week before it's due, so that you have the information on. The reason that I'm not giving you the business assignment 1 is because, you know, in the past, people have gotten the assignment done and posted it and hadn't even, you know, gone through the lecture to know specifically what I was looking for in the assignment. So you'll have plenty of time to get it done, and it'll all be based on things that we cover in class. So you can read up on the business writing. I am a stickler, I must say, for grammar, and there's a couple things that you really need to pay attention to. Grammar is one of them. If you've got more than 3 to 5 grammatical or spelling errors in your paper, if you've got more than 5, you're going to get 0 points for 20% of the assignment. And this happened to a lot of students last semester because they didn't pay attention to their grammar. And they started out of the gate automatically at 80%. So anything else took that 80% down. So if you don't get any points for grammar and spelling because you've got more than 5 grammatical or spelling errors, you're going to lose 20%. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that your paper is free of spelling and grammar errors. The other thing is the originality report. It must be less than 25%. If it's not, it's gonna result in a penalty. I had not quite a few, but I had too many students who just copied other people's work last semester. I had a great class last semester. Don't get me wrong. It was 120 students, so you would probably understand that some took chances that perhaps they shouldn't have. So make sure you read through that. The exams, there's 3 exams worth 100 points each. None of them are cumulative. Even the final will just be about the business writing. And here's a little bit of detail relative to the in-class quizzes. So you can read up on that. In terms of the grading for the course, I took away the C- designation and I really dropped the C to 70%. So, because usually a C would be 73% to 76.9%. But since you must get a C in order to pass the class, a C- would actually fail a student. So I went ahead and made a change to how I've done it in the past by bringing the threshold for a C down to 70%. So if you don't get at least 70% of the available points in the class, then you're going to fail the course because it is a required course. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. And of course, if you have any technical issues with anything relative to the system, to the Web Campus or Blackboard Learn system, then you want to call the help desk. Please read the academic misconduct policy. There's lots of information here about plagiarism, and you just don't want to ever do anything that is going to be characterized or labeled as academic misconduct, because it does go on your record. Copyright, you can read that section. Disabilities Center did have some students that were going through disabilities, and I'll work with you. I'll work with you on that if that's something that you have. If you have a situation where you have need a reasonable accommodation, no fear, I will work with you on that. Same thing for religious holidays, just let me know. There's a section here on incomplete grades, tutoring, the writing center. Now, this rebel mail policy really speaks to mail or email communication that students may do outside of the UNLV system. As I stated earlier, we are going to communicate only through Blackboard Learn relative to email. So I really shouldn't get any emails outside of the Blackboard Learn system. If I do, then the only emails that I will respond to would be emails from your Rebel Mail account. And of course, the final examination schedule, we will follow that. And that's all I have on the syllabus. Now I'm going to do another quick video on Blackboard Learn to show you where things are on the Blackboard Learn site. So stay tuned.